problems, which I think are all too apparent in the current system, and also try to throw out some quick thoughts on potential solutions. First point, in terms of the basic problems, I mean, we all know we've just seen a massive collapse of the stock market, and we're facing with a situation where insofar as people had retirement accounts, and here I'm thinking of the baby boom generation, the 77 million baby boomers on the edge of retirement, they're overwhelmingly in the form of defined contribution accounts. Defined benefit accounts, whether we like them or not, are rapidly disappearing and certainly going to disappear more quickly in the near future as more and more companies freeze their accounts or end them altogether. So we're looking at a situation where if people had accounts, they had defined contribution accounts, of course, and we all know that those have taken a very large hit. Now, on top of that, one of the points that I want to emphasize in my testimony is that the main source of wealth for most baby boomers approaching retirement is housing, and that also has taken a very large hit. And I think many people fail to fully appreciate the impact that this is likely to have on the retirement of middle-income baby boomers. I know that there are a number of surveys that have looked at baby boomers' intentions to use the equity in their home for retirement, and I know that most of the surveys show that most don't intend to do that. I would argue that in spite of their intentions, I think realistically the vast majority of retirees, and certainly baby boomer retirees, will be at least in part dependent on the wealth in their home for their retirement. And there are three reasons for that. One is that if you have a paid-off mortgage, obviously you're much better situated in retirement than if you have to continue to make payments on your mortgage long into your retirement. Secondly, many retirees do anticipate moving, and it makes a very big difference if you leave your house and have a large amount of equity to use as a down payment or possibly even purchase outright the home that you expect to live in during your retirement years. The third reason is simply that this is fallback money in the event of emergency, in the event of an unexpected medical condition or other emergency that requires money. If you have no equity in your home, then you obviously have much less fallback money. Now, we recently analyzed the Federal Reserve Board's survey of consumer finance. I have to confess, we didn't get the most recent data, which just came out last week. We'll have that shortly, but we're working off the 2004 data, and we just made some crude estimates of what baby boomers can anticipate having in retirement based on the recent declines in the stock market and in housing prices. And our calculations show that for younger baby boomers, those between the ages of 45 to 54, their total wealth, including equity in their home, all wealth apart from defined benefit retirement accounts, has fallen from $150,000 in 2004, which was none too generous, to just $82,000 in 2009. And just to put that $82,000 in context, this is median household, that would purchase less than half of the median house. So we're looking at a situation where half of the younger baby boomers, if they took all their wealth, would be able to purchase less than half the median house. Alternatively, if we converted that into annuity, said they were age 65, that'd get you an annuity of about $6,000 a year, $500 per month. That would not go very far in retirement, again, assuming that you have no equity in your home in that scenario. If we looked at older baby boomers, those between 55 and 64, the situation is almost as bad. We project that their wealth, total wealth, would be $142,700. That's a decline of 38% from where it stood in 2004. That would be sufficient for 80% of the purchase price of the median home. Again, if you took all your wealth and used nothing on anything else, you'd be able to purchase 80% of the median home. Alternatively, the annuity you can get for that would be about $10,000 a year, or perhaps a little more than $800 a month. And again, that's assuming that you have no equity in your home. I think long and short, people were taking much greater risks than they realized, not only with the money that they had in a defined contribution 401k type plan, but also in their home, which they were led to believe was a safe asset. Now, just some very quick points, because I realize I don't have much time. First, and I realize this isn't necessarily the purview of this committee, but I think a point that we can't emphasize enough, the Federal Reserve Board must take seriously its responsibility to combat asset bubbles. I know the Federal Reserve Board under Chairman Greenspan did not feel that was part of their responsibility. I think there's absolutely nothing more important that the Federal Reserve Board could do than to combat asset bubbles, and I think the current situation demonstrates that clearly. They gambled with the wealth of the country's homeowners, and we all lost very badly. Secondly, in this context, I think it's very important for the Congress and President to reaffirm the commitment to Social Security and Medicare. The baby boomers, the generations that are retired or near retirement, have just lost on the order of $15 trillion in wealth between their houses and their stock. And we have to assure these people that the one thing they could count on will still be their Social Security and Medicare. The last point, we obviously need to do more in terms of retirement accounts. I'll just say two very quick things about this. There have been efforts to set up state accounts that would be great experiments, California being the most important. Washington State also are very close to setting up state-managed system accounts. These have had bipartisan support. Certainly Governor Schwarzenegger in California has been a big supporter of this. With a little assistance from Congress, I think those plans can make progress. They would be good models, good experiments for Congress to look at. Last point is that given the risks that people have taken that I think many were not willing to take, not anxious to take, I think the opportunity to look at some sort of defined benefit that the government can guarantee, a modest account, say $1,000 per worker per year, I think that would be a very ripe opportunity that could offer a great deal of security to the nation's workers at really no cost to the government. So I realize we have lots of very big problems on our hands. I appreciate the committee's interest in this, and I hope we can make progress on that. Thank you for hearing me.